Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for today's national anthem.
Welcome to Atherton, California. Palatella Field at Sacred Heart Prep, where the Sacred Heart Prep Gators are set to face off against the Bishop Schools Knights. I'm Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel. Thanks for joining us wherever you are. We've got a matchup of the undefeated and 10-0 Gators of Sacred Heart Prep against the 1-5 Bishop School, Greg, down from La Jolla and San Diego. And here we go with the face-off.
Yeah, let's see right off the bat what Joey Dahlkemper can do. I think that's been a storyline for Sacred Heart Prep all year. And talking with Coach Rotelli earlier this week, he had made a big point of talking about Dahlkemper, how good he's been for them and what a difference that's made for their team.
Yeah, he says he's been the best face-off guy in every game they've played. That's Chris Rotelli, the head coach of the Gators, opposing Steve Cepeda, the head coach of the Knights, who have made the trip up this morning from La Jolla. We had the opportunity to talk to both coaches in the days leading up to the game. Got some great information we'll share with you as the game wears on here. With the Gators winning the first draw here on the out-of-bounds off the Knights. And here we have an early whistle and a change of possession.
Sacred Heart.
What happened there, Greg?
Sacred Heart Prep was called for offsides. I didn't see it.
I didn't either.
I'll be honest with you, there have been times throughout the season where it seems as though Sacred Heart Prep is not offsides, but the officials
called for it anyway.
Are calling it anyway.
Yeah.
And actually their assistant coach, Mo Ryan, was showing me some tape earlier today of a couple different incidents in their Jesuit game in which they were called for offsides, but really they were just subbing.
So here we have the Knights with their first possession of the game as they work it around. The Gators have had a great defense all year, anchored by the goalie, Cody Weeb, there between the pipes. He's been excellent heading to Tufts University next season.
Well, Unquestionably. Cody was an All-American last year. I think he is well regarded as the best goalie in Northern California.
Yeah. So here we go with the Knights trying to work it around here as they go to the ground. We've got a ground ball scramble. Who's going to get it? It looks like it's going to be the Gators with the scoop, and they're off to the races.
Sophomore defenseman John Carter running out with it, pushing transition to Tommy Barnes.
There's the first shot of the game with a save.
Yeah, WCAL Player of the Year Tommy Barnes coming off an 11-point game yesterday at Sacred Heart Cathedral.
5 goals, 6 assists, 1 shy of the all-time single-game record here for the Gators, which is held by current Princeton freshman Jack Crockett. Tommy, of course, will join Jack again as a teammate next fall in New Jersey.
And this will be a good matchup. Barnes versus number 18, Oscar Hertz.
Yeah.
Hertz, a senior defenseman, is going to be a Brown next year.
They're going to see each other for the next 4 years in the Ivy League.
That's right. So cool that they get to see each other for, I guess, the start of it, year 5. And here's younger brother Billy Barnes.
Billy with a lefty slingshot
Great save by the goalie. You know, Billy is a natural right-hander, but I would say he shoots the ball as well with his left hand as he does with his right. He's, in my estimation, more consistent at least.
So we have a clear here by the Knights as they put the ball on the ground again. You know, in talking to Coach Cepeda yesterday, he mentioned that his team does turn the ball over a lot. It's something they've done all season. They're an inexperienced team, a young team, and also a team of guys that doesn't play lacrosse full-time. They have a lot of guys that play other sports, so he's used to seeing that turnover. They're just going to have to weather the storm. As you see the Gators put the ball on the ground, and now another ground ball scramble that Billy Barnes is going to lose out of bounds. It's going to be Knights ball again, and that wasn't Billy Barnes. I'm corrected. It was Joe Sansini who turned that one over. So the Knights gather, sloppy here to start the game. About 2 coming up on 3 minutes in here so far.
Yeah, I'd say at this point, Sacred Heart Prep is played down to the level is maybe inappropriate. But I think the feeling coming into the game on both sides was that the superior skill laid with the Gators.
Sure.
And thus far, they have not gotten real good looks. I mean, both Barnes brothers have gotten a shot, but I think both would tell you they can do better. And I think as a team, it hasn't been the sort of possessions they're looking for.
Griffin Dooley now working it for the Knights. Inside in the goal. 1 goal lead early by the Knights here on the road at the Bishop School. Drew Yasher with the goal from the nice feed of Griffin Dooley here.
Bishop's goal.
We're going to take another look.
Drew Yasher.
See this on the replay here. Yeah, Dooley driving from behind, feeds backside. And it looked like Sacred Heart defenseman Cav Williams got
assist by number 22,
a little
Griffin
distracted,
Dooley.
lost his man on the backside.
A nice look there by Dooley. The whole defense had their eyes on him. Nobody saw Yasher there sneaking in the back door, and he does so nicely. A great feed there by Dooley, and the Knights are up 1-0 here early. As we come to you live from Atherton, California at Sacred Heart Prep, Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel here with the call this afternoon. Thanks for joining in. As the Gators win the face-off and try to get on the board here and tie this thing up 1-1.
That could be a big difference, too, in the game. You know, every time the other team scores or you score, if you get the ball back on a face-off because of Dahlkemper, that's a big deal. Here's Barnes down the alley. See if they can establish a little rhythm here on offense. They've been fairly disjointed so far.
Greg, we should mention one of the normal starters on attack for the Gators, freshman Max Sloat, out today. He's nursing an injury. He's expected to be back Saturday. As there's a nice feed and a goal by Patrick Haggerty with a nice feed from the X position, Greg.
And you just mentioned Sloat. Haggerty's in there. He's a guy who usually plays behind Sloat, coming in, filling in well. There is.
We'll take another look.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cut by Haggerty. He's just kind of floating high on the crease, cuts down, quick finish right on the low corner. Beautiful.
Really nice feed, nice cut, nice finish. Ties it 1 apiece here in the early going.
That's a little bit more of like what we would expect, right, Mike? Good ball movement, teamwork. One of the things Coach Rotelli was talking about, and when we talked to him, is an emphasis they've had on playing more simply and
Legal
allowing the
procedure
ball
on
to do the
Sacred Heart
work,
moving
allowing the
early,
teamwork
Bishop's ball.
to generate easy looks. And I think that's a great example of it.
Another turnover there. We've seen 4 or 5 here in the early going, Greg, as the Knights start their offense again. You can't help but notice on the sideline, Greg, how few players the Knights have compared to the Gators.
I was counting earlier. They have 17 guys on the bench today.
Not many.
Not many. No, that's thin. I mean, 7 subs is not a lot. Sacred Heart closer to 30. I think 27 or 28 guys. But, that is an abnormally large roster for Sacred Heart Prep. They actually brought a couple guys up from the JV.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is Bishop School did not travel their JV team on this spring break trip.
Gotcha. So they had no corresponding game.
That's right. There's no corresponding JV game, so bring up a couple of the
nice
guys
little duck dodge there.
You think have a really
Bishop
bright
backs
future
up
in the
and retains
program. Let them
possession.
get a little experience at this level.
Shot by number 25, Anthony Wood.
Anthony Wood there with a little duck and dive, but his shot was deflected. Knights maintain possession here in a 1-1 ball game. Just under 7 minutes left to play in the opening quarter. Greg, it seems like the Gators are doing a real good job of pressing their defense out on the perimeter, making the Knights initiate their offense far from the goal.
Well, I think that's right. Sacred Heart Prep, in my opinion, the strength of their team this year is their defense. They're big, they're long, they're athletic.
Sacred Heart backs up.
They've got a
Bishop
great
shot
back
and
stop in
retains
case they make a mistake in Cody Weeb. And you're seeing that. Alex Bean is back from injury. He was concussed, missed about a week and a half. He came back yesterday in their game against Sacred Heart Cathedral. Second game back, and he's extending out. You see it with William Peterson, and they just have so much depth, so much athleticism. And now with Sean Mayle, a former Division I All-American at University of Denver, coming in and taking the reins on the defense, I think schematically they're at a different level than they've ever been either.
Mayle also an alumnus of this here high school. Coach Rotelli told us in his estimation he's the best player this program's ever had. As we see a dive, and do we have a goal? We do.
They're going to get
Are they
together.
going to confer? No goal. So why is that goal waved off, Greg?
We're going to say that Wilson Weisel dived in the crease. You're not allowed to dive in the crease. You're actually not allowed to land in the crease at all in high school lacrosse still.
Not the same in college.
Not the same in college. They changed that this year. Made the game a lot more exciting.
So the game changed at the college level, but not the high
Timeout
school?
Bishops,
Do I have that
they're
right?
first of the
That's
half.
exactly right.
Okay.
And we have a timeout by Bishops to save possession as Sacred Heart Prep was all over them in between the lines. With that, we'll step away and take a break. 5:36 remaining in the first quarter, 1-1.
And we're back live here in Atherton at Sacred Heart Prep. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel with the call. 1-1 ball game so far, Greg. The Knights struck first. The Gators answered, and now the Knights on the attack.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see what Bishops draws up coming out. of the timeout. In my estimation, that was more of a possession-saving timeout.
Yeah.
You got low numbers. You don't really want to get in a track meet. If you can save a possession,
You turn it over a ton anyway.
exactly right.
Yeah.
So, what I've seen from them so far is a lot of the two-man game that you'd expect with assistant coach Steve Govett joining the group.
Yep.
Govett, a Canadian box player, longtime GM.
Nice outlet pass.
In the NLL, and now running the San Diego Seals, bringing a lot of that box lacrosse background to the offense here for Bishops.
Cody Weeb there with a nice save and the outlet pass to Beck Anderson. They had numbers, but then they drew it out. And Coach Rotelli with some mass substitutions here as he sets up their offense. Knights, Gators, tied at 1 apiece. Gators with the ball here, trying to go up 2-1 here. About 4:20 to play in the opening quarter. Is a pick there by Tommy Barnes and a roll behind the cage. So they cycle it back up at the top of the key. Over to Ben Ramsey now, and the Ramsey shot is low and wide, but Tommy Barnes backs it up, and it will remain Gator possession. Tommy Barnes now working behind the cage, looking to dish.
Boy, Hertz is really an impressive defenseman.
Yep, that's Oscar Hertz, number 18, checking Tommy Barnes. They're both going to play in the Ivy League next year, as we mentioned already. Hertz to Brown, Tommy Barnes to Princeton. Here's Ben Ramsey, looks to shake, bake, and fires it wide off a defender. But it's backed up by Joe Sansini. It'll remain Sacred Heart possession.
It's Hertz again, putting his body on the line. Having watched Tommy Barnes play a lot in the past 2 seasons, I would say there are very few guys out there in high school lacrosse who can match him, both his size, his speed, and his skill. And thus far, from what I've seen, Hertz is a tough matchup. Hertz is big enough that he can deal with the physicality that Barnes
Well, you
brings.
see him right here.
Right through the check. Yeah,
Pat Haggerty didn't want much of that, and you can't blame him. Nice clear there by Hertz as the Knights go on the attack.
Junior defenseman Will Watchhorst on the ball. He's a great story, Coach Sachs.
Yep.
He wasn't seeing a lot of playing time early in the season. All the injuries the Gators have had, he ends up finding himself in a starting role for the past couple games. And I know Coach Rotelli, Ryan, and Mail have been impressed with him as they gave him their the team award. They have an award that they give every week.
The Sledgehammer.
That's right, the Sledgehammer Award for the hardest working, best playing guy that week, and Watchhorst is carrying the hammer right now.
Watchhorst brought the hammer to the game, and he's out there trying to lay the hammer on defense right now as the Knights look to score and take a 2-1 lead. What have you seen from the Knights' offense so far, Greg?
Like I said, some two-man games, some pick stuff. Here they are.
Ooh, nice check there.
On cue, Watchhorst delivers with a takeaway. Great ground
Making
ball.
us look good.
That's right.
It's a really nice check there by Will. It looks like Coach Rotelli is going to take a timeout. His first of the half, 2 remaining. We'll take a timeout with him as we'll be right back here in Atherton, California. Welcome back to Sacred Heart Prep, where the Gators and Knights are tied at 1. Sacred Heart Prep Gators and the visiting Bishop School Knights from La Jolla, California. Two of really the most prestigious private high schools in America, Greg, going head-to-head.
Larry
Two
Hart
great
starts with the
programs
ball,
going
Sacred
head-to-head. And 1-1 tie here in the first quarter as the Gators come out of the timeout. Let's see what Coach Rotelli, Mail, and Ryan cooked up. Billy Barnes cycling it behind the cage to Haggerty. Back up top to Tommy Barnes, who bounces one, and another nice save there by the Knights goalie.
I would say anytime you're coming out of a break, Sacred Heart with the ball, looking for Tommy Barnes on the backside.
Ground ball. It's going to be a live ball turnover here.
Dodges, that's what I would be warning
Tommy
my team
Barnes
about.
picks it up. The feed over to for the goal.
Beautiful. And that's two defensemen scoring there. Beck Anderson is a
Cav
sophomore.
Williams
Cav
sticks it
Williams
in.
from Beck Anderson. Beck Anderson, sophomore defenseman, playing short stick D-midi this season. Really selling out for the team. Beautiful play in transition. Barnes finds Anderson running. And then from there, it's simple execution of a 2-on-1.
Classic live ball turnover there. Kills the Knights as the Gators take a 2-1 lead. An awesome heads-up play there by the senior captain, Tommy Barnes. Initiates the break. Cav Williams sticks it in for the second goal of the game for the Gators. And now Joey Dahlkemper back at the X to take the face-off. Knights. Nope, it's going to be the Gators get it. Here's Cody Weeb in net.
Dahlkemper is winning it any way he wants. He can win it forward. He's winning it back to himself there and then just playing through Weeb. He's been amazingly impressive.
So now the Gators back on the attack here. A mini fast break. Looks like they're gonna pull it out and set it up. So that's Joe Sansini behind the cage. Max Sloat, as we mentioned, the standout starting freshman, out with a hurt foot.
Billy Barnes inside to Haggerty.
Gators actually missing 3 players today. You're missing Sloat on offense, Paul Barton on defense, as we have a shot there and a deflected save, and it's still going to be the Gator ball. Who's the third player?
Had said their goalie is really coming into his own, and so far I've been amazingly impressed. That's a beautiful hitch move by Billy Barnes to get into the middle of the field. Billy walking down the guts of a defense like that is, that will terrify you if you're an opposing coach, and he made a great save. Nice feed into the middle, but a nice check to jar the ball loose by the Knights. They're going to have a hard time clearing it here, though. Yeah, that's an easy one. Weisel got him up around the throat. So flag on the ground as the Knights have a fast break here and a lefty slingshot score by Griffin Dooley to equal the score at 2. You were asking me what my thoughts of the Bishop's offense were a minute or two ago, Mike. My thoughts are Griffin Dooley's a good lacrosse player. 10th grader, right? 10th grader. This kid, really nice feed to the backside for their first goal. And then here, a tough ground ball, slippery little shot right by a great goalie. So I'm very impressed with Griffin Dooley. And with 3 seconds to go in the quarter, it's a 2-2 game.
For a hold on the play.
Yeah, that was a nice play by Dooley. I actually thought he was going to he shot it a little bit early, but it was just a perfect low laser from that left hand that beat Weeb on the stick side. I can see why you'd think that, Mike. I would disagree. I actually think that the way the 3-on-2 was set up was too flat for him to do much with it. At the end of the first quarter, had he waited any longer, he gives that defenseman an opportunity to rotate and maybe get a piece of his hands. By setting up and getting that quick shot off, he actually allowed us to. Yeah, do we have it on replay? We do. Absolutely. Let's take a look at that goal and just talk through the quarter break. Yeah, so if you see, there's not much of an option for him to take it back for you. Here it is. We're running through. Here's the ground ball. You can't really see it. Dooley picks it up here. Now, if you stop it here, they're all flat. Now, you're right. He shot it closer to the goal than I originally thought. He was on about the 5 or 6 yard line. Yeah, there wasn't really much of a play other than that. 15-yard line. 15-yard line. So anytime you're in a 3-on-2 like that, Mike, you're going to want to set up in a triangle. Anytime the more flat your triangle gets, the more, I'm missing the geometric term here, Yeah, Isosceles triangle?
Hey, something like that. Anyway, the flatter your triangle is, the harder it is to throw
Hold
through
on
the
here.
defense.
Let me get my protractor out of my bag so you can do a little visual
I think
for
we're
me.
dealing with acute angles here, Mike, is what I'm talking
Instead
about.
of doing, while I look for my protractor, let's take a break. It's the end of one quarter. The score's tied at 2 here in Atherton. We'll be right back. And we're back here live at Palatella Field at Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, California. A nice Thursday afternoon. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel. Greg, we were expecting rain, but all I see is a light breeze and
Facing off for
sunshine
Bishops,
peeking
25,
through the
Anthony
clouds.
Wood, and 16 for Sacred Heart, Joey Dahlkemper.
So we got 2-2 game here, Greg, as we start the second quarter. Joey Dahlkemper back at the face-off X where he's been dominant all season. Let's see how this one goes. He's going to win it again easily as he picks it up, cycles it back towards the net, and the Gators are going to try to clear it here on a little reversal.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out over the course of the season. But if Dahlkemper continues to play the way he has been, I think I'd have a hard time not voting for him as an All-American.
That's a big thing to say right there.
Well, there's a guy at Amador Valley named Lucas Heverly who is been the best face-off guy in Northern California for at least the past year, if not 2. And Dahlkemper went 50-50 with him earlier this season and has dominated in every other game. The numbers don't lie. When you win as many as Dahlkemper does, you need to be honored in some way, in my opinion.
Gators put the ball on the turf there, but I don't know if they're going to keep possession here. That they do.
Yeah,
Now they're on a little bit of a break as a shot wide. And the goalie's going to win the
Bishop's
battle to
back
the
up
back
the shot
line and get possession for the Knights.
Yeah, interesting. Ben Ramsey came out and really scrapped out a great ground ball right there in the middle of the field. I would be one thing I noticed is we didn't see much of Ramsey for the last couple minutes of the first quarter. I think Coach Rotelli may have been upset with some of the shots.
There was a couple wild shots there at one point, 2 in a row. I think you might be right.
When Ben Ramsey is dialed in, he's as good as anybody on the field. I think he'll respond well to that sort of coaching.
Yeah, Coach Rotelli in our pregame meeting was singing his praises, saying he was coming off a broken knee.
That's
he
right.
Started
he
him
started
off
the season with a broken knee. Actually missed the first couple weeks of practice.
He started out on attack, and now he's back to his natural position at midi as Cody Weeb makes another nice save there off the chest protector, and now looks to clear with a nice outlet pass.
Right on cue, Ramsey.
Ramsey's in the
Billy
game
Barnes.
now. Pat Haggerty. Little substitution for both teams now. So in comes number 12 for the Gators.
Yeah, Wilson Weisel missed a lot of time this year, but when he's around, he's a down. Senior Larry Hart.
Larry Hart with the goal, who we thought might not play today. Apparently he's gotten better. Coach Rotelli wasn't sure if he'd go. He is going, and he cuts the third goal of the game, giving the Gators a 3-2 lead.
This is highlight reel stuff here, Mike. Simple dodge down the left alley, steps back, sets his feet up for a right-handed shot. Woo! You got to be there sooner if you're Bishops, right? I mean, the midi is clearly beat. You need to go to Hart early. Hart's been killing people all year on that sort of play.
That was a nice slingshot. Beat him in the upper right corner. The Gators with the 3-2 lead now, just over 2 minutes in as Joey Dahlkemper's dominating play continues at the X. A shot and a real nice save there by the Knights keeper.
This is a tough penalty.
What do we have?
They're calling something on Hertz on the rotation.
Oscar Hertz.
Yeah, Oscar Hertz. I don't know if they're calling for a push or a cross check or what, but this is tough. Dahlkemper's got to do a better job of getting this ball out of his stick to Tommy Barnes. You know, the slide came, the rotation was there, and he's trying to shoot.
Legal body check on Bishop. Sacred Heart will be man
the
up.
Best player in the Western United States sitting at the point, waiting to unload one. Give him the ball.
Illegal body check on number 18, the defensive star for the Knights, Oscar Hart. So he goes to the box. The Gators now have a man up as they work it around the perimeter.
And I think they got him for maybe a late hit there. You know, and watching it on the replay, the ball was out of Dahlkemper's stick before the
Gators turnover here. Knights on the move. That was a risky pass there from the X position to the point, and the Gators turn it over and give the Knights a little bit of a fast break run, man down.
We'll see that. Bishop should get this ball behind the goal at this point in time. You got a penalty to kill off. Get it behind.
Yeah, we have no penalty clock here, so we don't know how long they have, and neither do they. Man down, ball down.
Ramsey
Gators come up with it, and now the Gators on the break.
Beautiful play by Ramsey to find Barnes in transition.
Dump down, shot, score!
Joe Sonsini, the beneficiary of the great play, starts with Will Peterson putting the ball on the ground with a nice defensive play. Ramsey picks it up. Barnes is running out ahead of the play, and that's beautiful transition lacrosse.
Sonsini sticks it in from a tough angle there. A beautiful shot. Gives SHP a 4-2 lead here as we take another look.
Yeah, and if you see, the Bishop's defense is stopping the ball up around 16, 17, 18 yards away from the goal. And anytime you get that spread out in transition, you're going to have a tough time stopping the ball.
The pass is going to beat that 9 times out of 10.
That's right.
So Joey Dahlkemper back in his office looking to do some more work, as he does so right on cue. He is just dominating that face-off position, Greg.
You know, one of the things I like about Dahlkemper, too, other than that he wins it a lot, is you see, he's selectively aggressive. He's been playing a lot back to himself, and then as soon as there was a little blood in the water, he went forward to himself. He ended up taking a shot that should have been a pass to Barnes, but that sort of aggressiveness, piled 2 quick ones on. Instead of being 1 goal, it's 2 in a matter of 5 seconds. That will really crush a team.
Errant pass there and a Gators turnover. Coach Rotelli puts his hands in the pockets now, the hips. Not happy with Joe Sonsini.
Well, I don't want to put words in Coach Rotelli's mouth, other than what he told us, which is they want to get better every day, right? And what I've seen from them in their past, at least 2 out of their 3 games, I thought at moments they played well against Jesuit, but there were also a lot of unforced errors. And these sorts of unforced errors are really driving Coach Rotelli crazy.
Yeah, he said that he doesn't need them to play any better. He just wants them to play smarter. And I think that pass there is a prime example of what he's talking about.
It wasn't necessarily a dumb pass. It was just poorly executed. So I would actually argue with the antithesis of what you said.
That's fine. Knights ball now, trailing by 2. Bunch in the middle as they break out of it. Coach, when talking to Coach Mo Ryan, he said he thought he expected to see a lot of inverted sets, trying to take some of their short sticks behind the cage. Have we seen any of that so far?
We have not. I've actually, like you said, Coach Ryan alerted us to that. It was something we were expecting to see. Honestly, I didn't think it would be that effective for Bishops because of the strength of the Sacred Heart Prep short stick D middies.
As we see a shot and a score there by the Gators again.
Wilson
They're
Weisel.
On a roll. Wilson Weisel with the laser 5-2 Gators lead. As let's take another look. Show us what you see here, Greg.
This is more transition. And John Carter draws the man. Nice little 5-on-4 here.
Nice look.
And then, Weisel's a great shooter. And that's a great shot. 12-yard shot on the run, and the goalie never really stood a chance. Right under the bar. Weisel has got to make Rotelli happy to have him back.
Well, as a matter of fact, Coach Weisel, you know what? We'll save this story for when we come back. Bishops takes a timeout. We'll take a timeout with them. It's 5-2 Gators here in Atherton. And we're back live here at Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, California. Palatella Field, Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel, the former Division I player at the University of Denver and current coach all around Northern California, bringing you your expert lacrosse analysis. Greg, SHP on a 3-goal run here, coming off the latest one by Will Weisel. Joey Dalcamper gets a legal procedure call. I think that's the first bad thing he's done all day, Greg, as the Knights take possession.
Yeah, Dalcamper's just a little too quick. And here you go. Here's your invert look that you were talking about.
Yep.
Though it's not a double invert, it's single invert. Bryant Gavello doing a nice job playing short stick defense.
Yep, as we expected, he and Beck Anderson playing short stick midi D today for the Gators of SHP. And there's that Beck Anderson on ball.
Yeah, you know, the short stick defensive midfielder position is a position a lot of coaches feel is the most important position on the field. It's where every offense is going to look to attack first. And if you can stymie them there at the point of attack, it makes playing team defense infinitely easier.
Yeah, stop ball. As we see a high pick there, fought through by the defender. The Knights down 5-2 here with 6:20 to play in the first half. A shot deflected, backed up by Bishops, and it will remain Bishops' ball.
Yeah, this is that's Tony Woods, number 25, the face-off guy.
Yep.
You know, one thing that we touched on earlier, and I think will come into play even more later in the game, is the size of the Bishops roster. You know, somebody like Tony Woods is facing off against Joey Dalcamper, who doesn't do anything else. Right? Woods is out there playing offense, he's playing defense, he's taking face-offs. Dalcamper takes a face-off and he goes off the field.
Yeah, and Wood stays on the field. Obviously, the attrition's going to catch up at some point, you would think, but we saw a wild shot there by the Knights on a pretty good look. And now the Gators on the attack as the ball hits the ground. We've got a scramble for it.
And it's Gavello trying to do too much. You know, it's not really his role, but even if it wasn't an intelligent decision to try to beat the double team there.
Ooh, a nifty little move there by Joe Sansini, and this ground ball seems like it's going to last forever. Finally, thought Larry Hart would come up with it, and he didn't. And now the Knights make a wild pass. It's going to roll out of bounds on their bench, and it's going to go to the Gators here. Sloppy. About 45 seconds there of play, Greg.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, Coach Sachs. The Gators would obviously love to win this game. I believe they have larger ambitions in mind this year than just winning this game.
Of course.
For that to be true, they need to play cleaner lacrosse than this. You know, I know they're winning. They're up 5-2. But too many turnovers, too much time with the ball on the ground.
As we see a shot by Ben Ramsey and a save. Scramble for it. Ramsey in the mix. He fires it over his shoulder. Saved, and now it's loose again in front of the net. Scooped up by Bishops. As the Gators get the ball right back on the challenge clear. Gators circle it around. Behind the X. Back up top. Hart. And a shot save. Shot by Ramsey. Over to Haggerty. Back around to Sansini.
We don't have the numbers in front
back
of us
up top
right
to Larry Hart.
Mike, but I would say they're going 9 saves is what we're being told.
9 saves.
I was going to guess more like 6 or 7. A very impressive game.
Yeah, he's played great. There's a shot by Tommy Barnes from the right elbow, sails wide, but the back up by the Gators. They will maintain possession.
Yeah, Nate Wynn, very impressive.
Nate Wynn in goal for Bishops had a spectacular first half. Even though he's losing, he's been peppered all first half by the Gators. And here comes another one, wide. That shot by Larry Hart, backed up by the Gators. Seems like the Gators are backing up almost every shot. Almost like they have an extra man out there, honestly.
Well, Mike, there's really no reason to not back up just about every shot if you're on offense, right? You have such an advantage in terms of that, in the sense that the defense has to stay in and play through the shot. You as an offensive player don't have to do any of that.
You know who I haven't noticed in on for the Gators in quite some time is the sophomore Billy Barnes. Yeah, Larry Hart has it, and another shot sails wide. Gators ball.
Well, I think part of the reason you haven't heard from Billy is he's not on the field right now.
Well, no, that's what I meant. I haven't seen him out there in a while.
I think that has more to do with the overall midfield depth
okay.
that Sacred Heart has. Barnes is playing well. He's made a couple really nice plays, especially the Sonsini goal in transition. Barnes doing a lot of the heavy lifting there in transition. So, I don't think he's in the doghouse, so to speak, anything like that.
They also, we should mention, the Gators are playing 3 games in 4 days right here. This is the second of 3, as we see a shot again by Larry Hart on that left side sail wide. But still SHP ball as they lead 5-2. 2:43 remaining in the first half as we come at you live from Atherton, California.
Ooh, this is trouble for Bishop.
Oh, Ben Ramsey with a laser beats the goalie on the opposite stick side, and the Gators now lead it 6-2.
Great move by Ramsey. Little right to left split here. Swim move, actually. And then no slide at all.
Swim move, switches to the left hand, sticks it in the back of the net. That was all Ben Ramsey after about 4 missed shots by the Gators. They backed them all up. They eventually get it in. They now lead 6-2 as Joey Dahlkamper goes back to the faceoff position where I don't have an official number, Greg, but I don't remember him losing a single faceoff all day.
Well, he's lost one because of the illegal procedure.
Right, okay.
And then I think maybe he ended up losing the first face-off.
Yeah, there was a quick offsides
there.
Yeah,
exactly right. So, maybe he technically won that one, but they lost possession. Other than a few technical issues, I don't think he's actually lost the draw itself, though.
No. As the Gators get the ball back, his undefeated streak continues at the face-off position now as we count down 2:15 remaining in the first half. The SHP Gators on a 4-0 run. Bishop scored the first one. SHP tied it, and Bishops hasn't led since that first goal. 6-2 now, 2 minutes to go. Larry Hart with the ball on his stick just past the midfield mark as he cycles it back to Billy Barnes, now back in the game for the Gators. Hart with the ball. Looks to pass behind the net. Over to Haggerty. Back to Tommy Barnes. Sticks it in the net for a goal. The Gators now on a 5-0 run. They lead 7-2.
That's too much quality, Mike.
Precision there.
That's right.
What do you see here on this replay, Greg?
Let's take a look at it. It's a hard dodge down the alley by Larry Hart. Throws the ball through X. Looks like Will Garlinghouse is looking to set a screen on the backside that doesn't even have to happen, and then Barnes is there for that backside shot.
Is that screen something designed on the sideline, or is that a play call?
No, that's certainly a play call. It's possible that he went out and thought of that himself on the fly. Much more likely than that is that was part of a play call. You see that sort of thing a lot. If you were watching the MIAA game yesterday, the Loyola McDonough game,
right?
McDonough ran a very similar play in the second half, backside screen as that defenseman, right? Because the defense all helps into the middle. As that guy gets ready to rotate out to the backside again, if you can seal him with a guy he doesn't see, it's really hard to get out to the wing to the shooter.
Dan Calvert there with the ball for the Knights as they cycle it back around. Knights trailing 7-2 here in the waning minute of the first half. Coming up from La Jolla, California this morning. I understand they got a special VIP tour of the EA Sports facility, which must have been really cool. They're going to go visit Alcatraz tomorrow, Coach Steve Cepeda told us. So a great experience for the Knights to come up from San Diego up here to the Bay Area and have a great 3-day weekend.
Mike, as you know, Mike, so much of sports is, outside of the lines and what it teaches you about life and the experiences you have with your teammates. And, I think this is a lot of, what Coach Cepeda was saying is a lot of what these kids remember and talk about in years to come. Has
and there's a goal by the Knights.
The time they spend in Chinatown or Alcatraz or whatever it is they're doing up here.
The goal there by, I believe that was
10?
I couldn't tell, to be honest. There is no 10 on the roster. I'm going to go with 16, Lucan Aguirre.
19.
19?
Yeah, 19.
We have no 19 on our roster here, unfortunately.
Bishop's goal by number 19, unassisted.
So apologies to the viewing audience. We're not quite sure the young man's name who scored that beautiful goal. At any rate, it breaks a 5-0 run there by the Gators. And the Knights get a much-needed goal, cutting it to a 4-goal advantage. 7-3 now with 44 seconds left in the first half. Joey Dahlkamper back to the face-off X to battle Woods.
No, that's not Woods. They mixed it up. Woods
Okay.
is playing on the wing now, and that's long stick midfielder number 22, Griffin Dooley.
So Griffin Dooley grabbed a long stick and is taking face-offs now.
Griffin Dooley is the young man Coach Cepeda was telling us about, who he feels is one of the best long stick midfielders in all of Southern California.
That's right.
But is playing attack because that's what the team needs right now.
Slash on Bishop.
And he took that face-off with the long pole.
That's right. What an impressive young man. He actually is not an attackman.
Yeah. In fact, he had never played attack before this season.
Yeah.
But a penalty there on the Knights. I think it was a slash they got on. And now the Gators will finish the half on a man-up advantage, looking to take another 5-goal lead. Hart over to Haggerty, over to Barnes, behind the cage, to Ben Ramsey, back up top to Tommy Barnes.
Throw it back. There it is.
Billy Barnes, Haggerty, Tommy Barnes, moving it. Great ball movement, a shot there and a save by Wynn.
Just hold it now.
4 seconds left in the half. I'm not sure Larry Hart sees the clock, or if he does, he's just going to take it to the locker room.
Great leadership there by Tommy Barnes to make sure Larry wasn't going to try to put one back in. But ultimately, they missed the play on the wheel action. Classic wheel, overload one side, throw the ball back against the rotation. And Ramsey elected to skip it through to Barnes, who probably wasn't looking. I think the one more to whoever it was stepping up from X yields a goal there.
So that's welcome back to Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, California. Off to the races.
Sophomore defenseman John Carter running out with it, pushing transition to Tommy Barnes.
There's the first shot of the game with a save.
By Wynn again. Okay, here's another save by Wynn on Barnes' alley dodge. Wynn has been awesome. Wynn, his team may be down 7-3, but I would say he's probably the player of the game. Yeah, Nate Wynn, the goalie for Bishops. Here's Bishop's first goal. And then the response here, throw it through Axe, find Haggerty on the crease. Weisel by himself. This one didn't count, though.
That was the dive that didn't count.
Away. God, I wish that would be a goal in high school lacrosse again. Beautiful transition. One thing I think that Sacred Heart Prep could do is get out and play in transition a lot more than they have.
Well, they've been really successful whenever they've done that.
Agreed. I think they could play more up tempo. I mean, they got a deeper bench. They have more skilled players. They have some better athletes. Get out and run some.
Yeah, and they didn't fly on an airplane today either.
That's right. And I understand the 3 games in 4 days thing, but I'm here to tell you that high school kids are resilient.
Here's Joey Dahlkemper. He had a magnificent first half.
Yeah, Dahlkemper's a fantastic face-off guy. He's a big body. He's strong. He's skilled. He's athletic. He's the real deal.
He dominated the first half. He's a big reason why the Gators lead the night 7-3.
Beautiful shot by Weisel on that highlight.
All right, we're going to reset here as we get ready to start the second half. Michael Sachs alongside former University of Denver pioneer Greg Weigel. Many of you may know Greg as a coach all around the Northern California youth lacrosse scene. He's here to break it down for you. Sacred Heart Prep here in Atherton, California, the home team leading the visiting Bishop School Knights out of La Jolla, California, who made the trip up today. They'll play at Redwood High on Saturday. The Gators in the midst of a 3 games and 4 day stretch as Tommy Barnes gets on the board early here to start the second half with an overhand righty laser in the upper left part of the goal.
Yeah, Wynn never really sees this one coming. You can see as Hertz rotates out to it, Barnes uses him as a little bit of a screen, and Tommy Barnes at 10 yards on a screen shot. That's unfair to any goalie to ask him to save that.
So the Gators take a 5-goal lead again. They were up 5 when it was 7-2. Bishop scored a goal late before the half to make it 7-3. Now the Gators take an 8-3 lead here. Not even a minute into the first half is Joey Dahlkamper ready to go back to work.
Yeah, we're seeing Dooley again at the faceoff.
There's his first loss faceoff of the day.
Oh.
First true loss. Not called by the ref.
That's right, correct. I thought Dooley was effective against him the one time they faced off in the first half, though. I expect to see Dooley playing with the long stick at the face-off X for the rest of the game.
Yeah, Coach Steve Cepeda made that switch, as you mentioned, right towards the end of the first half, and they actually scored a goal off of Dooley's first draw, and now they win his second draw. So the Knights with possession, looking to go to work and cut into this 5-goal deficit.
And now I think here he is. He's up at the midline to get a sub. And
talking about Dooley?
Yeah, Dooley will come in. Now they'll slip him back on for a long stick. But yeah, they're going to look to have Dooley be a key player in this game. And I think Dooley's in as a long stick midi again now. So that looks to be his role. He's going to move back to
Dooley, number 22.
Yeah, face off. Oh, John Carter, be aggressive and shoot that.
Instead, he's getting checked. He puts it on the ground as we have a turnover, but a flag. Let's see what the call is. As Tommy Barnes left it out.
That's going to be a slash on Oscar Hertz. He caught John Carter on the knee.
So his second penalty of the day, the standout defenseman for Bishop School, committed to Brown University next year in Rhode Island. As I mentioned one other time in the broadcast, and I think it bears repeating, these are 2 of the most prestigious private schools on the West Coast here doing battle. Bishops has been coming up to NorCal to play each of the last few years. Bishops won this matchup by 1 goal last year. Gators All-American goalie Cody Weeb was sick, couldn't play in that game. As we have a timeout here by Bishops. I think Coach Cepeda wanted to.
It's not a timeout by Bishops. It is an official's timeout here, and I'm not sure what the problem is. It looks like they're putting the ball back in play now, though.
Coach Steve Cepeda in the ear of the official here on the far side as the Gators take possession. Larry Hart with the ball in his stick. Fakes it over to Tommy Barnes and swings it over to Pat Haggerty. Back up top to Hart. Over to Tommy Barnes, who looks to fire, and he does so, but it's high. Backed up by the Gators. Joey Sansini on the backup. Still SHP ball. Sansini initiating the offense up to Hart. Up to Haggerty. Now over to Hart. He faked it to Hart and kept it. Now to Ben Ramsey. Tommy Barnes. Hart, shot high. So 2 high shots in a row there. Pretty good looks, although not great looks there for the Gators.
They didn't get the look they wanted right off the bat off the hidden ball play with Haggerty and Hart. But good ball movement. A nice look by Tommy Barnes. Throws it through to Hart.
Tommy wants the ball, motioning for it.
Hart wants that shot back is, I think, what it is.
And there's a goal. Ben Ramsey, his second of the afternoon, and the Gators take a 9-3 lead. So, Greg, we're going to take a look at a replay here. What do you have?
Sacred Heart just played out of this 1-3-2 for a long time. You can see Ben Ramsey pinches up onto the backside pipe from X a little bit, and Bishops isn't fast enough rotating with their defense. They get the rotation up to Barnes. They don't have the rotation coming across from the crease, and Ramsey's got an easy shot.
That was a man-up goal, too, I think.
It was a man-up goal.
Yeah.
They were still on the slash on Hurts.
Yeah, Hurts was, we saw Tommy wanting the ball there on that left elbow. I think he was trying to take advantage of Hurts being out of the game.
I think it was less about that and more about he recognizes the fact that Bishops has been slow to rotate up on their man-up plays.
Gotcha.
And so, he knew they had the advantage over on that side. He took advantage of it, and, if you look at the way they scored the goal, it wasn't Barnes who got it. Barnes was the facilitator.
There's another goal.
Barnes had his third assist of the day, and I think that's really what he was looking for.
Goal by Will Garlinghouse, his first of the afternoon.
Sophomore midfielder Will Garlinghouse is a guy who's really playing well this season and adds a lot of depth to their midfield.
Well, really nice goal for him, as I mentioned, his first of the day. And SHP now distancing themselves between the Bishop School Knights. They now lead it 10-3. Joey Dahlkamper going back to work at the X faceoff spot for SHP. Is Griffin Dooley taking it again for the Knights?
It's not Dooley. I'm not sure who it is. It's another long stick.
Yeah, we're blocked by the referee.
I think it might be Dom Haley.
And I do want to say, the last goal of the half there
Charlie Moss,
by the Knights was that of Dash Sai. We didn't know his name earlier, as the Gators score again. Oh, and we have a little confrontation. The goal there by Will Weisel, and one of the defenders there for the Knights didn't like what it looked like Weisel said.
Taking our goal by number 12, Wilson Weisel, his second of the day.
A little bit of frustration here, Weisel. Weisel looks like he does look
did
down
say
and say something.
I couldn't see his lips, but it looked like words were said and not taken well. And the refs are still getting together here, Greg, discussing that last action that we saw.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. Unassisted goal by Weisel.
So the defender came over the top on Weisel a little bit. I don't think Will took well to that. And then I don't think the defender took well to what Will said to him.
I think that's about right. I think, I'm not sure Weisel was too upset. You expect to get hit if you're going to shoot it.
Well, at any rate, it's 11-3 SHP, only 3.5 minutes gone by in the third quarter, and already we've seen 4 unanswered goals by the Gators of Sacred Heart Prep.
Illegal procedure on Bishops. Sacred Heart ball.
So an illegal procedure call against the Knights, and SHP is going to go to work again, Greg. Ben Ramsey initiating the offense for the Gators.
I'm surprised we haven't seen a timeout yet by Bishops. 2.5 minutes in, 4 goals already scored. It feels like this is on the verge of getting out of hand.
One might say it's already out of hand.
Fair. And I tell you, it doesn't look like Larry Hart has any intentions of taking his foot off the gas right now.
Nope. I don't know what Coach Rotelli said in the locker room, but the Gators have come out of it with some purpose here. 4 quick goals to open the second half for the Gators. And they're still going back to work here with Larry Hart. Dumps it behind the net. Little trouble there.
I don't obviously know what Coach Rotelli said either, but if I had to guess, based on what I've seen in terms of how they're playing, I would say go out and take your shot. They've come out
Attack.
A lot more aggressive. Exactly right. A lot more aggressively. They're getting after it in a way they weren't. They're playing with a purpose that they weren't in the first half. And I think that must have been the message, Don't be afraid to pull the trigger.
Yeah. Well, here's Larry Hart again, looking for more. Swings it to Ramsey, who shoots and saves there by Nate Wynn. We've been singing Wynn's praises all day, who, despite having let 11 balls in the net, has really played quite a good game so far.
Yeah, he's let 11 goals in, but I think he's got 13 saves on the day or something like that.
He's been busy. As the Knights here on a little bit of a break with their long pole. A shot, a save by Cody Weed.
That's actually a much more impressive save than it might look at first blush. Coming out of a long stick like that, that ball's being released at about 10 feet in the air.
Almost like a knuckleball.
Knuckleball, or I would equate it more to like trying to hit Randy Johnson.
Okay.
All right, there's when the ball is changing planes that dramatically and hitting the ground and changing it, coming back up again, it's really hard to get a beat on where to meet the ball vertically.
I understand what you're saying. So Will Garlinghouse with the ball in his stick now, kicks it over
so you were
to
asking
Will Weisel.
about the invert set. This is an invert set now that Sacred Heart Prep is playing out of. We were expecting to see more out of that from Bishops. We didn't.
Looked like a set play there as we have a man down, but Joey Sansini back up quickly for the Gators, and it's still Gator ball. Garlinghouse with it behind the cage. Over to Weisel. Back to Haggerty. The shot wide, but backed up by Garlinghouse.
So that's the danger of the invert set defensively, Mike. You can see the second defender is really helping over because as a short stick defender, it's not expected that you're going to be able to stop a guy one-on-one. So you got to go to it quickly. Once that happens, then there's somebody else open above the goal. And you saw that with Weisel. They were able to quickly get the ball to Weisel off what looked to be an early double team. He finds Haggerty. Haggerty just missed the shot.
Weisel with it. They ran a little pick action behind the cage there, but Weisel didn't like it. So now Tommy Barnes with the ball, and he's stripped. No flag. I think the partisan Gators crowd wanted one, but now the Knights are on the break. Ball on the turf. Fight for possession.
There's no doubt the crowd is partisan. I would argue they were probably justified in wanting a flag, given that you could see Barnes's helmet come about halfway off.
So Ben Ramsey with it now, as the Knights weren't able to do anything with that turnover. 11-3 your score here in Atherton, California on the campus of Sacred Heart Prep. The Gators lead the Knights 11-3. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel. Gators with a big lead and looking for more as Ben Ramsey looks to dodge.
There you go.
A nice pass down low. Back up top to Tommy Barnes for his goal. That's Tommy's third goal of the game. And the Gators are cruising now, 12-3.
Quietly, Barnes has got a 6-point game, 3 goals, 3 assists.
He had 11 yesterday.
11, I mean,
5 goals, 6 assists for the senior captain.
17-point week. That's pretty nice.
And he's just getting started because they're going to play again on Saturday here against Marin Catholic. We're going to have to maybe go get the record book out of the library and
tell you, Mike,
see what's going on
you
there.
Look down here at the Bishops' defensive end of the field, and the body language tells you everything you need to know. They're getting drinks of water out of the goal. Their hands are on their hips. Their heads are down. They've played defense basically the entire quarter.
They really have. I don't know if the Knights have actually taken a shot in this half.
They have one. The long stick.
Yep, you're right.
Down.
The Cody save.
Mossy
you're right.
Came down, made a really nice face dodge. Cody made a great save, but I think that may be their only shot.
I think
this
it
quarter.
is.
And, Dahlkemper winning every draw certainly doesn't help their cause.
Yeah, we thought the Bishop School was in for a long afternoon when we came to the field. They started off great, but this game has sort of turned into a little bit of a shellacking here with 5:20 left in the third quarters. The Gators lead 12-3 and looking for more as Tommy Barnes swings it around to Bryant Gavello. Haven't seen much of Gavello this half.
Well, they haven't played much defense this half, right? Gavello is primarily a short stick defensive midfielder.
And now playing a little O.
Yeah.
Little dodge there. He loses it as we have a whistle and a procedure penalty against the Gators, and it's now Bishop's ball.
Sacred Heart, Bishop's ball.
That's the type of play I think that'll drive Coach Fratelli crazy.
He's got his hands on his hips, Greg.
Right. Why try to dodge through a double team when you're up 9 goals? Take care of the ball, do the right thing, make the right play. Don't try to be a hero, and trust your teammates.
So here we have Bishops with really, I think, their second true possession of the third quarter. They trail by 9.
Let's see if Sacred Heart Prep smells the blood in the water and extends some pressure, looking to,
Well, there you see Alex Bean on ball doing just that.
Yeah. And there's that quick slide from the crease that we didn't see earlier to Bean. Bean does a really nice job of funneling his man underneath at the goal line. Dash Sai scored on one in the first half.
Right before the first half.
Right before,
ended. And there's a goal.
There's another one.
as a Bishops player goes to the turf. The numbers are very difficult to see on this color combination that they have.
I think it was 19. I think that was
okay, so
Cy
we're going to
again.
give it to Dash Cy again.
Bishop's goal
the
by number
junior
19,
attackman,
Dash
his
Cy,
second
his
of the
second
night,
of the day,
second of
unassisted.
the afternoon, I should say, as the sun comes pouring down here in Atherton, California. So just a little more than 4 minutes to play in the
19.
third quarter, and 12-4 now. Sacred Heart leads. So Joey Dahlkamper going to go back to work at that face-off position. Larry Hart looking to come in from the wing, along with Cav Williams on the far side.
And it's interesting, Mike, if you look at how they're set up on the wings, it really looks as if they're set up for more of a 50-50 draw, not as if for Bishops, that is, when someone has been as dominant as Dahlkemper has, you usually slide a guy back a little bit lower onto the wing to take away the opportunity for a fast break.
Yep.
And they're playing them straight up as if it's a 50-50 matchup there. I'm surprised, Coach Ryan over on the sideline hasn't made that adjustment with Joey. You're winning the draw cleanly. Push it forward to yourself. Make them respect you. Make the wing play easier later.
Interesting point. Tommy Barnes with the ball in his red-headed stick here, looking for offense. We have a flag. I think that's going against the Bishops D.
It is. No idea what it's for, though.
As Ben Ramsey sticks another one in the back of the net. And looks like we've got a cramping problem here for Bishop School.
You're going to wave that flag off.
So Ben Ramsey, with his third goal of the afternoon, gives the Gators a 13-4 lead. We have an injured Bishop School Knight down on the field. I don't want to speculate what it is, but I think it might be a cramping issue. We'll check it and be back with you right after this. And we're back live here at Atherton, California. The injured player was Griffin Dooley, who's had a whale of a game for the visiting Bishop School Knights. Took a shot. Oh, gotcha. It looks like it was a cramping issue. It's coming off the Ben Ramsey goal that gives SHP a 13-4 lead as Joey Dahlkamper scoops up another face-off for the Gators. And another possession here for SHP as they look to add to their already large 13-4 lead.
What a beautiful clear by Sacred Heart Prep. Just look at the way their deep holes handle the ball.
So here's SHP. Billy Barnes with the ball in his stick as a sub comes in for the Gators over to Larry Hart. Beck Anderson goes out. Larry Hart comes in. Actually, it's going to be another sub. Ben Ramsey coming in now off the bench. Mo Ryan in charge of the substitutions over there for the Gators. Here's Larry Hart with some offense behind the cage. To Joey Sansini. Up top to Ramsey. Back over to Tommy Barnes.
This is trouble for Bishops here. This is Barnes matched up on a short stick. He's going to dodge against that every time.
As he did, he fired wide to the left, but Sansini's there to back it up. It remains SHP ball. 2 minutes to play here in the third quarter, a third quarter that's been absolutely dominated by the home Gators of Sacred Heart Prep.
Now here it is again. Find the short stick matchup and look to exploit it. Right now it's Hart or Ramsey. Hart's going to be the one who initiates. Draw the slide, move it quickly through X. Now you got your short stick matchup with Barnes on the backside. That's even better for Sacred Heart than Ramsey.
Sansini comes through. Barnes goes to X. Looks to dodge. Passes it to Sansini. Back up top to Billy Barnes, the younger of the two Barnes brothers. Here's Pat Haggerty. Up top to Ben Ramsey, who shoots it high. Haggerty backs it up. It will remain Gator ball now. 1:19 to play in the third quarter. 13-4, Sacred Heart Prep leads the Bishop School out of La Jolla, California. And there the ball hits the turf.
It's going to be an
over and back.
And over in the back on the Sacred Heart Prep Gators, and now the Knights are going to try to stick one in here before the end of the quarter. 1:15 and counting.
This is Sai again, I think, on the dodge.
It is. Number 19, 2 goals already for the Bishop's Knights. 2 of their 4.
You know, when we were talking with Coach Cepeda earlier in the week, he was saying Sai is really coming into his own and really learning to use his body effectively as a Dodger. And you could see that on both of his goals, right? He was able to lean on Alex in the first goal.
And there's another goal by the Knights on a beautiful dive scoop. I can't quite tell who it is.
That's Anthony Woods, number 25.
Yeah, we think it is Anthony Woods.
Bishop's goal by number 25, Anthony Wood.
So we'll give it to Anthony Wood, his first of the afternoon, the 5th for the Bishop School Knights, as they cut into the lead a little bit now, trailing 13-5 to Sacred Heart Prep. Let's see what Joey can do here at the face-off spot, Greg. There's been so much scoring, I'm going to have to go to another piece of paper to keep track of it all.
It hasn't. Bishops has played a ton of defense today. I feel badly for their defensemen. It's tough to have the ball down there that often. And they've handled themselves very well. There's going to be a penalty on Sacred Heart Prep. I think it's going to be a slash on Cav Williams.
Be a slash on Sacred Heart. Bishops will man up.
So a man-up situation for Bishops, I think.
And then there's a second flag there for, I think, some sort of conduct maybe on Bishops.
I can't tell.
That's
I think
conjecture.
Is that the first penalty that Sacred Heart's committed today, if my memory serves? First or second? So it looks like
Prep's going to be 2 men down.
Conduct penalty on Sacred Heart as well. They will be 2 men
So you
down.
were right, Greg. It is a conduct penalty on number 3, Pat Haggerty. So you see the 2 guys in the box on their knee on the far sideline for the Gators. 3, Haggerty, and 24, Cav Williams. So 2-man up advantage here for Bishops. Just under 30 seconds to go in the third quarter as they work it around.
This isn't something you see very often, Mike. You've got Oscar Hertz, the long stick, who plays on the Bishops man-up unit.
And Bishops takes advantage of that 2-man up as they get another goal here before the end of the third quarter. That's the first time today that Bishops has scored back-to-back goals. They now trail 13-6. Still 15 seconds remains in the third quarter.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Bishop's
sneaky
goal by
play.
number 11.
They have number 11
Dan
come in
Calvetti.
and set a pick as if he's going to screen for
Assist
Oscar
by number
Hertz
22,
to be the
Griffith
shooter as the
Dooley.
ball gets carried up from X, and then he quickly slips off that pick. They really effectively use Hertz as a nice diversion.
So that goal goes to
Penalties
number
are
11,
released.
Dan
All
Calvetti.
even.
A beautiful goal by him, taking advantage of the 2-man up advantage. We're now even strength here to play out the third quarter with Joey Dahlkemper back at the face-off spot. He falls on it.
Loose.
A whistle. We're going to get a hold.
Hold on Bishops.
Against Bishops. It's
Sacred
going to
Heart
be
ball.
Sacred Heart ball here. Let's see if they can get one in with 10 seconds to play in the quarter. Billy Barnes sends it over to Garlinghouse. And that's going to do it for the third quarter as the Gators turn it over. They're going to go to the fourth quarter with a 13-6 lead. We're going to take a break with them here in Atherton,
Third quarter,
California.
Sacred Heart 13, Bishops 6. Face-offs currently are 14 for Sacred Heart to 5 for Bishops.
Welcome back to Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, California. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel, the former University of Denver player. Breaking it down all for you here. We've got the visiting Bishop School Knights trailing to the home SHP Gators 13-6 here, Greg, as we begin action here in the fourth quarter. The Sacred Heart Prep has dominated the face-offs 14-5 thus far.
14-5, is that right?
That's what we have it here. Yep, 14-5 our official score tells me.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 70+%. That's about where Dahlkemper's been for the season.
So Sacred Heart Prep will now be attacking the goal to our right as they switch fields here to start the fourth quarter. And it looks like Dahlkemper, no, not so fast. Yep, he's going to win another faceoff. So now 15-5, Dahlkemper leads that faceoff. Ever important faceoff stat is Ben Ramsey kind of fumbled it there. Tommy Barnes picks it up and sends it over to Pat Haggerty. Gators lead 13-6 here in the early going in the fourth quarter. We're live here at Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, California. It's become a beautiful Thursday afternoon here, Greg.
It has been, yeah. The clouds have cleared, a little sunshine.
Billy Barnes looks to attack. He shoots. He scores. 14-6 SHP.
What a wonderful hesitation
Sacred
by
Heart goaltender
Barnes.
number 6, Billy Barnes.
Watch this on the replay. Barnes looks as if he's going to shoot, makes that defender come out harder than the guts in scoring.
So the younger brother, Barnes, gets on the board. His older brother already has, I think, 4 goals.
4 goals, 3
now
assists.
Billy gets in the action with a goal of his own, and it's 14-6 SHP. Joey Dahlkemper going back to work. And he wins another draw. And they're on the break as he swings it to Tommy. Tommy down low to, that was Joe Sansini, who missed a point-blank look, and now we have a scramble for possession.
Yeah, Sansini's got to shoot that overhand. Anytime you drop the head of your stick like that and don't change planes, the stick starts low, the ball stays low. It's going to be an easier save for the goalie.
What do we have, a
Timeout, Sacred Heart.
So Coach Rotelli takes a timeout. We're going to take one with him. We'll be right back from SHP. And we're back here live at Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, California, where the visiting Bishop School Knights are taking on the home Sacred Heart Prep Gators. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel with you.
Sacred Heart will start with the ball after the
Appreciate
timeout.
you joining us wherever you may be watching this game on your laptop, your phone, maybe your iPad. Who knows? An awesome service here for these kids out here playing some great lacrosse, Greg.
Yeah, let's see what Larry Hart can do coming out of the timeout. What do they have drawn up? Tommy Barnes.
Yeah, that was clearly a drawn-up goal on the sideline on the whiteboard.
Yeah, like I've said before, Mike, anytime you're coming out of a timeout, you better be looking for Tommy Barnes to get the ball off of a dodge if the ball gets thrown through X. It's that simple. I mean, Barnes is the best player in the Western United States. He's going to get it coming out of timeouts.
Yeah, Barnes, the subject of a feature in this month's Inside Lacrosse magazine, named the player to watch in the Western region of the United States. So great recognition for him. And these last 2 games, he's showing why he deserved it. As we see a shot and a save there by Wynn, and the Knights are going to try to clear it.
Did that ball even make it to the goalie?
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I think it got deflected before it got there. I think
Slash on Sacred Heart.
And we've got a
Bishop's
penalty
will
on the
man up.
Gators, a slashing penalty. The Bishop School will now have another man-up advantage. A little sloppy here. We saw the Gators come out of the halftime locker room absolutely on fire. The energy and the execution has waned here since about the first 6 or 7 minutes of that third quarter.
Well, Mike, I think it's pretty clear at this point in time, with 10 minutes to play in an 8-goal lead, that the Gators are probably going to win today.
Yeah.
But if you look at the sideline and the body language, either Coach Ryan, Coach Mail, or Coach Rotelli, I'm not sure you would know which team's winning. And I'm not sure they're particularly happy right now.
Well, that's a mark of a great team. They're 10-0, the best start in school history, and they've got their sights set on big things this season here as we're now into April and look ahead to May. There's a beautiful spin move there by Oscar Hertz, but he loses the rock, and he picks it back up. Ball back on the turf, scooped up there by SHP, Alex Bean.
Yeah, that's pretty undisciplined. Anytime you have anybody dodging on man up is probably not a good situation, let alone a long stick.
A little bit of maybe frustration from Oscar Hertz, who's certainly had his hands full this afternoon.
I think that's fair to say. I mean, he's been one of the better players on the team, on the field for either team.
No doubt.
But his team is still down 8 goals.
As we have a whistle, looks like we might have another cramping situation for the Bishop School Knights as Dash Side tries to stretch out his teammates.
Official timeout for
We've got an official timeout. Let's take one with them here in Atherton, California.
Sacred Heart goal by number
15-6.
6, Billy Barnes. His second of the day. Assist by number 9, Ben Ramsey.
And I mean, Sacred Heart is so smart in the way they set up their offense. There's so many, I think part of it is Sean Mail coming on staff. What you see in terms of the way they set things up and isolate short sticks on the backside off of movement is really indicative of what you see from the University of Denver offense under Matt Brown. And that, to me, is a classic example of that. You get a bunch of motion on one side, the ball gets kicked over, all of a sudden Billy Barnes is dodging against a shorty with no slide. And as we've talked about all day, it's too much to ask of your short sticks to stop someone as talented as Billy Barnes in the open field one-on-one.
And now the Barnes brothers have 6
Illegal
goals
procedure
between them, 4 for the elder Tommy,
On Sacred
2
Heart,
for the
leaving
younger
box
Billy.
early before possession.
Something tells me they're
Bishop's
going to have a
ball.
good dinner tonight at the Barnes household.
There's a lot of meat on those boys. Something tells me they eat well every night.
Lot to celebrate tonight.
Well, it's been a good week for the Barnes brothers.
So here we see the Gators on D. The Knights of Bishops trail 15-6, coming up on 8 minutes to go in the game. Griffin Dooley still looks to be, he's on the sideline drinking some Gatorade. He's getting treated for cramps. He's been out of the game twice now for cramps. As the Gators pick up the loose ball and look to run, Will Garlinghouse finds Alex Bean. Bean on the break. Bean looks to pass. Shot. Ooh, and a nice save there by Nate Wynn. That was a really
Number 25,
nice shot by Jack Maltrip.
Jack Maltrip's a backup short stick defensive mid. He doesn't get a lot of playing time on offense, and
Cross check
rang
on
one off
Bishops.
the pipe.
Sacred
you can
Heart
tell
will be
that
man
would have
up.
made the a lot of Gators pretty excited.
Non-releasable.
Yeah, so the Gators are playing their second game in a row. They're playing 3 games in 4 days with another one coming up here on Saturday against Marin Catholic, which, by the way, will be streamed live, and we'll be here to call it for you. So Coach Rotelli emptying his bench a little bit, giving the regulars some rest. He told us they're going to have a light day of practice tomorrow, of course, coming off the back-to-back, and recharge the batteries for a great South Bay versus Marin game here on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see how light they practice tomorrow.
He was expecting a light practice.
A light practice. I think he was probably expecting to play better today, too.
Larry Hart swings it over to Tommy Barnes now, so you see the regulars back on offense for the Gators. So much for giving the guys a rest.
Yeah, you're going to play your man-up unit throughout the game. That just makes sense.
Oh, it's Joey Sansini. Shot it before he caught it there right on the doorstep. It could have been the 16th goal of the afternoon. Gators scored 16 yesterday, so looking to equal their output from a day ago when they went down to San Francisco and beat up on the Sacred Heart Cathedral squad. Knights now on the break, as a shot from the long pole soars wide. And it looks like one of the Gators got popped in the face mask there. He's shaking it off. That's Alex Bean, who just missed a week and a half with a concussion problem, and he's shaking it off here, Greg.
Yeah, I tell you, Charlie Mossy, number 8 for Bishop School, not afraid to be aggressive in transition. That's his second shot of the day. I've been impressed. Mossy and Hertz.
Yep.
They had some.
And Dooley. I think those, and the goalie, Win.
And
I think those have been, and Dash Side.
Yeah, Dash Side, Dom Haley, number 1. They've got some guys who can play defense down in San Diego on this team.
A 1-5 start for Coach Steve Cepeda in his 18th season, the only coach this program has ever had. And he said this is the worst start he's ever seen, but it's also one of the most inexperienced teams he's ever had. So no surprise. He's not down on the guys, and I think he'll like their effort as the Gators put another one on the board. This one for Joey Sansini, and SHP gets their 16th goal and leads by 10.
Agreed, and they're also about to get one of their best players back in junior midfielder Chase Ladrita.
Sacred Heart goal by number 5, Joe Sansini, his second of the day. Assist by number
Johns
9,
Hopkins,
Ben Ramsey, his second
makes a
assist
huge
of the
difference on this team. He's been a 2-year starter, freshman and sophomore year. He's been battling a broken foot and is expected back in the next week or two.
Yeah.
What a difference he will make on this team. They've got some talent. Obviously, Cy down at attack. Dooley has looked good all over the field. Tony Woods taking faceoffs. He's played well on offense and defense.
Good guy in goal.
Yeah, Wynn has been awesome in goal, and they've got a nice defense. So this is not a team that, it's not as if the cupboard is completely bare.
No. As Joey Dahlkamper goes back to work for Sacred Heart, would you expect maybe in fact, they have made a switch at the X. That wasn't Dahlkamper taking that faceoff. It was Maltrip who loses the faceoff, and the Knights are now on the move. A shot sails wide there. That was way off target. 16-6, SHP leads the Bishop School now. Just under 6 minutes to play in this game. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel, the former University of Denver star. Thanks for joining us here as we come at you live from SHP in Atherton, California, 2 of the most prestigious private high schools on the West Coast. Knights looking for more. 6 goals, looking to cut into this lead that the Gators have been able to build here as the second half is worn on. There's a shot deflected. Cody Weeb's going to chase after it.
What a play
and
by
he
Weeb.
Nice little popped it back to his teammate Bean. And now the Gators have a break, but they put it on the turf, and we've got a ground ball scramble. Maltrip takes a hit, keeps it in his stick, and swings it to the center of the field, and here come the Gators.
Yeah, Coach Rotelli's really opened up the bench here.
He has.
Freshman Eric Baller in that attack with at number 10. Number 20, Kai Lockton is in.
Having to check my roster frequently right now.
Yeah, Lockton and Baller are guys along with Sloat who are going to be the future at attack here at Sacred Heart Prep. Those are really talented young players.
Sacred Heart.
Will Garlinghouse
Number
now
20,
with the ball.
Ty
He's had a
Lockton.
nice afternoon.
Number 10, Eric Baller, and number 18, Billy Thompson.
There's one of the JV players, 18. Normally Paul Barton wears that number, but he's injured and not playing today.
Here's Beck Anderson playing a little offense.
So 4 minutes to go here. SHP with a very comfortable 10-goal advantage. Gators cycle it around. Beck Anderson looks to dodge.
In for Sacred Heart, number 15, Colin Choi.
Another sub comes in for the Gators, number 15, Colin Choi, in for the first time in the afternoon.
Eric Baller, slippery little move. Great look up top. It gets dropped by Anderson, picked up by Garlinghouse and buried.
Garlinghouse shoots and scores his second of the afternoon, and the Gators extend the lead to 11 now, their biggest lead of the afternoon. As we take another look.
It's a really nice play by Baller. It's a slippery little move at X. Great look through up top. Anderson can't handle the pass, but Garlinghouse is there to clean it up. Garlinghouse, big strong kid, overhand. Like we were talking about earlier with the defenseman shooting, the height matters. You can extend your arms, get the stick up high. It's really hard for a goalie to read that much change of the plane, and Garlinghouse does a really nice job of that.
If you've been taking an online geometry course, you're talking about isosceles triangles, you're talking about protractors, you're talking about planes. What's going on?
I love math, Mike. I don't know what to tell you.
You always have loved numbers. So we have another face-off here. I believe it's Maltrip in to take it for the Gators. Nope, I was wrong about that. It was the youngster up from Billy Thompson took that draw for the Gators.
Now Watchhorse extends pressure out on Woods.
Slippery dodge, a shot deflected by Weed, backed up by the Knights.
That's not Cody Weeb.
In on defense for Sacred Heart, number 8, Ryan McJanet, and number 1, Joey Gardino.
So tell us, Greg, who's in net for the Gators?
That's Tawil, Brody Tawil.
Okay. Brody Tawil.
Sophomore goalie. Ryan McJanet is a sophomore defenseman.
So we've got mass subs in here for the Gators for the last 3 minutes of play as they have an 11-goal lead and host Marin Catholic here on Saturday at noon. There's a shot, a save.
Big save by Tawil.
Fine save.
And Tawil has it. It looks to clear.
Brody Tawil.
The crowd gives the backup goalie a big and well-deserved ovation. So here come the Gators again. Second, maybe even third unit here looking for a goal.
Yeah, these are guys who aren't normally on the roster. Right? These are guys.
In fact, some of them are not on the roster.
That's right. These are guys who are usually playing on the JV team who got called up for today's game because Bishops didn't bring their JV team with them. And, boy, they're stepping up to the challenge and playing great.
Yeah, it's fun to see. It's energized the crowd here in what's really been a tough second half for the Bishop School. So now under 2 minutes to play here at Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, California. We thank you for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast. We've really enjoyed bringing you this game here this afternoon. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll be back with you at high noon here on the West Coast on Saturday as Marin Catholic comes to call in here at Sacred Heart Prep.
There you go, Billy!
So Bryant Gavello now has a long pole in his hands, Greg.
Beautiful play there, right there by Will Peterson.
How tough is it to switch the
Slash on
stick
Sacred
right in the
Heart.
middle of the
Bishops will
game
be man
like
up.
that?
Well, I wouldn't say it's that hard.
Okay.
You know, they if you are, sort of practiced with both, it's pretty easy to transition back and forth. most guys will learn to play throwing with a short stick, and eventually transition to a long stick, and so it's not too tough. It's essentially the same mechanics.
Easy for you to say. I've never tried it. I've never tried to throw with a long pole.
I think you could do it well, Sax. I've seen your mechanics.
That's awfully nice of you to say. A loose ball here coming up on a minute to play in this one. And the Gators on the move again. Swing it, the shot, and a score.
With the look to the backside to Eric Baller for the goal.
Eric Baller with his first goal of the afternoon. And it's all Gators here now, 18-6. Under a minute to play, and it's going to just it's getting out of hand here, Greg.
Well, Sacred Heart Prep is good. They're deep, they're talented, and
they play hard.
They do.
They've been bringing it all afternoon. They got down by a goal. They haven't trailed since. I think at one point to open the third, they scored. Let me do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight unanswered goals to open the second half. Coach Rotelli's got to be happier with the effort here in the second half than he was in the first, but they're going to move to 11-0, and I'm sure he's going to have plenty of things to coach them up on as they reconvene for practice tomorrow afternoon before the weekend hits.
I think that's right, Mike. Coach Rotelli obviously happy to get the win, but I think he thinks his team's better. This team's got high ambitions, and in watching this tape, I think there's going to be a lot of things he can fix.
Anthony Wood shot there, sailed wide. It was actually backed up by SHP. You can tell these Bishop's kids are totally gassed. A lot of them have played the entire game, and it seems like the tank's pretty empty, and you understand why with Sacred Heart now playing some of their third stringers.
Bishop's takes an offsides there. I think that may not even impact the game here.
It's not going to impact the game at all. 9 seconds now. A shot, a save there, a really nice save. And 2-1.
Wynn has not given up on this game.
No.
Gotta appreciate the hustle from the senior.
Very impressive effort in net by Nate Wynn. But the final score is all SHP. 18-6 is your final. The Gators move to 11-0 on the season, extending their school record best start ever. The Knights of the Bishop School dropped to 1-6 on the season, but a gutsy effort from the boys from La Jolla coming up here on the airplane this morning and playing a really tough team here in Sacred Heart. So that's going to do it here from Atherton, California at Sacred Heart Prep. I'm Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel. We hope that you'll join us at noon on Saturday as Marin Catholic comes to call in here at Sacred Heart Prep. That'll do it here from Palatella Field. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on Saturday.